Come with me to the very first Animate Orlando, held at the Orange County Convention Center, the same place as MegaCon Orlando and Holmat. And the drive to the parking garage will be a stark reminder of how undeveloped Florida actually is. Even though we are in Orlando, there's still so much open land. So once we get to the convention center, we head upstairs to the main floor to go purchase our one-day pass. I decided not to do a full weekend pass, given that I knew that this was going to be a smaller convention, and I just got back from Tampa Bay Comic-Con last week and didn't want another repeat of really not having anything to do for 3 days. I also didn't have a hotel room, so we just drove in for Saturday and got there right as the vendor hall opened and stayed until after the costume contest, which was around 10 p.m. I was pleasantly surprised to see massive lines waiting to get into the vendor hall. I really want Animate Orlando to be successful. I'm a big fan of GalaxyCon in general, and this is one of the GalaxyCon sister cons, and I want this convention to return next year and for many years after. So I was very excited to see that there was quite a turnout for Saturday. So I did as we always do when we first arrive and just take a nice little lap around the convention center. I was pleasantly surprised to see that the vendor hall was set up nearly identical to how Animate Raleigh was when I guested there. They had everything clearly laid out, nice large signing, and the aisles were of perfect size to not really get stuck behind anyone, even when the hall got incredibly busy. They had their voice actors split up with the has-been hotel guests, which they had a lot of, all grouped together in one middle area, and then the Disney guests were all in a row next to each other, and so on and so forth. So it was a nice organization with that. And then the cosplay guests were grouped together near the celebrities and the start of the vendor hall. So very organized, very clean feeling, not very messy. Now, this is an incredibly large convention center, and as I said, I figured this would be a smaller convention, and they used their space wisely. Rather than splitting up a lot of the events or things to do that they had, they utilized this main vendor hall for the majority of. So your gaming center, your tattoo and piercing area, all of that is within the vendor hall. So was the arcade, which was really small, unfortunately, but their crane games were $1 a play, which is cheaper than anywhere else I have seen in a long time. They did have some food vendors outside of the hall, and the workshop room, an additional panel room that they called social hour, where they held like group activities, and 2 additional stages, the senpai stage and the main stage, were outside of the vendor hall. And then they also had an 18 plus after dark section where things started to happen, I think 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. That was also outside this hall, but almost everything else was captured within the vendor hall itself. One of the things that you'll see pop up throughout this video that I absolutely love that GalaxyCon does is digital signage everywhere. Everywhere there could be any sort of event like tabletop gaming or outside every panel room, they have a digital screen set up that gives you live, updated schedule information, so you can absolutely be certain you are in the right place. I will say I had problems with the website, unfortunately. For some reason, whenever I pulled up the schedule on their website, I couldn't see anything before 2:30 p.m., even though the day before I could see the full schedule. So I did utilize the printed booklet that they hand out, which was incredibly easy to use. I do really like the size and format of their booklet. So as I said, I'm a very big fan of GalaxyCon. They treat their cosplay guests well. Also, one thing I found at Animate Raleigh was sticker rallies, which is where you get these little cards and you go to the specific booths. Oftentimes you have to make a little purchase, you get a stamp, and then you do get a free mystery pack at the end. They had a lot of K-pop Demon Hunter sticker rallies this time, and I did decide to complete one because I like to buy Christmas presents for my friends and family at conventions so that I can support local artists and small businesses, as well as giving unique gifts to everyone. They also had this very interesting cosplay section with these fun cars and additional props, like the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man, and there was Iron Man back here and Pikachu at one point in time, but this was an area for cosplayers to go and take photos in front of some fun props they had set up. This is also the location where they had the cosplay meetup. An hour or more wandering around the hall, I decided to take my chances with a random convention hall chili dog. It tasted better than it looked. And then we decided to walk around the rest of the convention center to see if there was anything else we missed. I had the absolute pleasure and honor of running into Cameron Cosplay in her beautiful Amidala build. Look at all of these amazing details. And as soon as I saw this in person, I knew it was another award-winning cosplay. Then attended a painting demo by Danielle DiNicola. Walked us through some of the do's and don'ts for how she likes to paint props. It was really fun to watch her give some pointers that I did not know. So I did walk away from this panel with new things that I am really excited to try. And then I discovered a stamp rally with GalaxyCon themselves. You get to go around to all of these different locations, which does help you understand the layout of the convention, collect these really cute stamps at each location and put them in this little passport book. They were all really easy to find, except the last one. It took me forever to find the merch booth at the end. It did cost $5 for the passport, but once you are finished, you did get a really cute Stamp Quest enamel pin at the end. And after finding an amazing Christmas present from one of the animators from Lilo and Stitch, we then decided to go to a special effects makeup demonstration, which was taught by Astro Void Cosplay. It was very interesting. She went over some very simple and affordable techniques for people who are just getting into special effects makeup. After that, I decided to attend what was called an Improvalooza or something like that, which was essentially Whose Line Is It Anyway? But everyone in the room participated. This was me putting my suggestion into the hat of a scene for someone to act out, which was what not to do at a convention. I did not want to record anyone really participating in this because I do feel like it's a little bit of a nerve-wracking situation, and I did not get up on stage, but I actually thought it was a pretty fun panel, though my husband disagreed. And then after that, we went straight to the cosplay competition. I will say that we did run out of some things to do up until this point because there wasn't a lot of programming we were necessarily interested in. They had a lot of programming with their voice actor guests and whatnot. It wasn't something that we were as interested in, but we did manage to entertain ourselves for a little bit. I would have loved to have had a hotel room to just rest in for a couple hours before the cosplay contest, because at this point, the contest started at 8:30 and we had been there since 10 and I was incredibly tired. But I absolutely had to go to the costume competition because this is the event that I look forward to the most, and I really wanted to cheer on Cameron Cosplay in her Amidala. I was convinced she was going to take home a prize that day. So I did record the entirety of the cosplay contest, and I was very excited to see that I recognized several competitors that I've either judged in previous contests or saw compete previously as well. And for the intermission, we got to see Phantasmagoria, which is a performing group that used to be at, I think, every MegaCon Orlando, but I have not seen in a while. So I was actually really excited to see them again. And then finally, it was time to give out the awards. So there were several awards that they gave out. They had their Judge's Choice Award, Best Prop, Best Craftsmanship, Best Group Novice, Best Group Overall, and then of course their category winners, which were Best Novice, Best Journeyman, and Best Master. And then finally, it was time for the Best in Show, and I am so incredibly proud to say that it was Cameron Cosplay who took home this massive belt as the Best in Show at Orlando's first Animate convention. So congratulations to Cameron, all of the other contestants. So with that, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe for more content from me. Let me know if you were there at Animate or if you plan to go next year, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.